Thanks a lot, Robbie. DEGA, am I pronouncing it right, by the way, guys?
Yeah, that's the right way to go.
But you said, so someone said, and I won't say who it is, but we not invested in DEGA yet?
No, yeah, you are. You are.
Oh, we are. I knew it, Scott. I told Scott said Mario, you're not investing. I'm like, bro, I
I
think we
didn't
are.
say. I said.
It as well, build out all the functions, the features. Is that a fair way of describing it?
Yeah. We usually use either Shopify or Wix, or somebody, for the engineers out there, something like WordPress. Essentially, a platform that allows you to not need to know the technical aspects to be able to engage with your audience through gaming and tell your story through gaming. Right, as it was mentioned before, I think it was Robbie that said that gaming is the largest entertainment media. Right, so you can take music, movies, TV shows, all of it, combine it, multiply it by two, and it's still smaller than gaming.
Yeah, so I want to talk to you about the gaming narrative in general. First, I love the concept. Shopify for gaming. We did invest in a project that did something similar in the last bull cycle. I'm not sure what happened with them. No, we skipped on investing, but I know them really well. But I think they were just way too early. And that's probably why we passed on it in the last cycle. But I think now we're getting to a stage where adoption. I think we had Robbie talk about pixels briefly. We're starting to see adoption. We're starting to see interoperability, and we're starting to see use cases within that ecosystem. It's no longer like a play to earn pyramid scheme. So my question to you is first, why? Give me your thoughts on the ecosystem in general. Like, why did you enter this ecosystem? Why is it not too early? And then maybe I'll lead to the next question afterwards.
Well, the key thing about gaming is that one, everybody in gaming is digitally native, right? And even though there's some friction on the Web2 side of things, particularly with the creators, right, the streamers, even so, they're digitally native, right? So you don't have to preach to that entire audience that something digital has value. They get it, right? So that's one of the key things. The other thing is that we're heading towards a gamification of everything, right? So if you see, your Apple Health application, it's gamified, right? You see Duolingo, it's gamified. So everything is taking the lessons learned from the gaming industry and starting to apply it to everything else. And you can see a lot of digital brand activations like Fortnite, Nike on Fortnite, and many other brands. So I think we can take a call of this the rise of the gamer nation, right? So if the gaming nation was an actual country, it would have like the GDP of the Emirates. So that's why we believe that right now, as we're rising, as we're breaking down the barriers and smoothing out the tension between Web3 and Web2 gamers, it's the right time to set yourself up for
Yeah,
success.
my position is I'm going to ask you another tough question. And this is something me and you, Scott, were talking about like today and yesterday and the day before and in the back channels, like the whole concept of launching a token, raising the money privately, etc., which I'm bullish on. I think the model is a smart model if done right. I think you're in the middle somewhere, and I think some people just don't like the model in general. So DEGA, the question I have for you is kind of moving away from gaming a bit. You guys have a token. You've raised money from VCs. You've had a successful raise. I appreciate you allowing us to invest as well. And then you're going to list your token on, I'm guessing, sexes and launchpads, so centralized exchanges, and potentially do a launch on launchpads. Is that true? And then I want to ask you questions on that model as well in general.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, and what are your thoughts on this model? What was the process like? And maybe you can also tell us a bit more about, you are a partner of the show, so don't hesitate to tell us about who your investors are and what centralized exchanges you're listing on, etc.
Yeah, so I mean, I gotta tell you that for a lot of people in emerging markets, which is most of the humans in the world, there really isn't any other way that you could build out on bleeding edge venture in tech, other than going with blockchain and crypto, right? Like if you go, like I know this might sound like weird to somebody in Silicon Valley or in New York or maybe in London or Tokyo, but the rest of the world doesn't have access to that type of of financial structures. So crypto is kind of like a place where people, heck, I mean, they even start companies anonymously, right? So you can be from Sri Lanka, you can be from Nicaragua, right? And if you're creating and building and communicating correctly, then you can tap into capital and actually start connecting with the rest of the world and building. So I think it's a great model, right? As anything, it's open to abuse by some players, but overall, across time, it's a net positive, hands down.
And the next question I have, and I'm asking a bit selfish questions, they'll kind of dig into DEGA again. This one's about DEGA. What are the launchpads and centralized exchanges you guys are partnered with, and maybe some of your key investors?
Yeah, so let's start with the investor side of things. We started we're right now on our second round. The first round was a very small round, and we had investment from Kangaroo Capital, from Cornucopias Games, which is one of the coolest AAA games in space. Meld Finance, Ken Olling, who
I
launched.
know Melt Finance. Yeah, I know Melt Finance.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
yeah,
know Ken.
yeah. Ken's. He was in the space. That's how actually I got to know the space
He
through
was in
the
our
time that
space, I
you
think,
guys.
Scott, wasn't he?
Yeah, Ken's great. I did a podcast with him as well. Yeah, from Milk.
Yeah, yeah. Well, he's an advisor, an investor, a partner. So we've been working with them closely as well.
Oh, there. Just maybe tell
Um,
him his Twitter account got suspended. I'm just checking their Twitter account now. Meld underscore DeFi, and they got suspended. Poor guy. So
they're now they have a new one now. It's on Meld. That's
on
the
Meld,
new
there it
one.
is. Oh yeah, cool. Yeah, I'm following that one. Sorry, my bad. Cool. Yeah. So go ahead, and then do you have partnerships with launchpads and centralized exchanges, or too early?
No, we're in conversations with them right now. There's like two launchpads that we've closed, and we're working on three more. I just don't want to mention them because we want to do the public announcement jointly together. But yeah, we're going to be listing on at least two centralized exchanges and also two Texas.
Which when do you plan to list? And again, I'm curious because I'm looking at the market conditions, and I'm wondering what your strategy is.
Yeah, we're targeting the end of June for the listing. And we're working on a structure to be able to kind of like provide a gamified token generation event. Also, those details will be announced soon. But essentially, to your concerns regarding the market timing and all of that things, I think that it is relevant, but it's also important to be able to properly structure your tokenomics for that, right? And to give you an example, right, a very simple thing is somebody in crypto, most people get the faucet right, the faucet of the token. So everybody's good at distributing tokens, right? And almost nobody has any mechanic for the sink. How do we take the currency out of circulation, right? And I'm happy to go into details of that if you'd like to.
Yeah. The but so the next question I have is how do you plan on getting users? Because I feel like there's a lot of great projects with an incredible idea, and even they figure out tokenomics. Like they look at tokenomics and like, okay, shit, they've thought this through. And they do a successful raise, but then they just struggle to actually do the most important thing, and that's get users onto the platform. Have you guys thought
Mhm.
that through?
Yeah, we actually, we've been deploying every feature that we built. We release it, right? We're not waiting for the entire system to be released. So we already created our map builder. It's live on over 8 blockchains. There's hundreds of maps being developed by the community. We have 4 games right now that are going to be building on top of DEGA. One of them is called the Degens, which is a social simulation gameplay that we're doing in partnership with Venus Protocol. So that's also a key part of the strategy, not working alone, but also with existing communities. Another ones, we're releasing a game with the Degen Titans and Ordinals, and partnerships like Cornucopias Games that's using our SDK for some of their infrastructure has also brought a considerable audience and some of their guilds even over to our ecosystem. And we have another stealth game which is going to be deployed on base in partnership with an artist that has already a large following of millions of people, right? So the cool thing about DEGA is that it's not one game, right? We're not doing a game or a brand. We're building a platform on top of which third parties can build out their games. So we can leverage, accessing other people's communities and other brands to grow.
Are you worried, by the way, are you worried about the token and going back to my discussion with Scott? Like, are you worried about the market conditions and the impact that could have on the token? And how did you guys structure your unlock schedule? And just for the audience that doesn't understand, so when a token launches, um, I'll explain the process actually after Dega. Dega, I'll let you answer the question, then I'll explain it for the audience, anyone that's not in the space.
Yeah. So Yeah, so the thing with the market conditions, I mean, we're always going to be exposed, right? Like regardless of that, that's like, the ocean, right? You can't move the ocean. So I think that there might be some impact on that side of things, but for us, we're releasing at a very low cap, right? And we've already considerably generated a large amount of attention from our community. To give you an example, like we're one of the few revenue generating companies in the space, right? We've generated more than 600K worth of revenue. That's revenue, not investment. So we've proven the capabilities to be able to pull in the interest and the inflows to our ecosystem. And now that we're actually doing a massive growth campaign, we expect to take those inflows into the millions, right? And we'll be centering everything around the token in the sense that basically the access to the system, the benefits of the other games that are going to be releasing on top of DEGA, their tokens, their airdrops are going to be geared to people who are staking DEGA, right? So we expect to be able to create a push to lock out the asset from the market. That's one thing. And then the other thing is that all the fees generated in the DEGA ecosystem, when somebody trades an NFT, when somebody trades an in-game currency, those fees go to buy and burn DEGA. So you got lockups and you got deflationary pressure.
Let's just get to the flexing part. Like, tell us more. Tell me about your team. Tell me about your investors, your plans, your milestones. Like, what makes DEGA? Why did we invest? Why did my team like say, "Holy shit, we want to invest in these guys"?
Well, yeah. First off, the product perspective, right? Again, we're not one game, right? We're not trying to push one game, one brand out there. We're a platform on top of which we expect to see thousands, literally thousands of games being created.
Which is kind of it's like a good way to get exposure to the ecosystem. Like I'm trying to get into my team's head. Because a game, you could tick 90% of the boxes and still fail as a game. Like the failure rate of games is significantly higher than traditional startups. So I think if you get exposure, if you like the whole gaming ecosystem, well, a good way, if you want to invest in e-commerce businesses, obviously finding out the right e-commerce business is tough. Investing in a platform like Shopify just gives you exposure to the industry as a whole. So that's a kind of a similar approach from an investment perspective, yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly correct. And yeah, that's on the product side. On the team side, me and my team on the technical side have been working together for over 7 years. We've built layer ones, side chains, marketplaces, a whole bunch of stuff. But on top of that, we're have a few rock stars in the space, right? Our CEO, Michael, has extensive experience on cybersecurity and artificial intelligence. We just recently onboarded Philip Shoemaker, who's working with me on the product design. He's the former director of the Apple App Store under Steve Jobs. He's also been on Scott's show, and we expect to be there again very shortly. We also onboarded Jasmine Shoemaker. She's the former CEO of Juga Labs, and she's also working with me on the product design for the DEGA marketplace. And as Amro Shihad as well, who's worked with Animoca brands, Nilian, and several other projects, taking them to multi-million-dollar races. So so we discussed product, we've discussed team. In terms of validation, we already released our stake pools for crowdfunding for DEGA, and we crossed over $14 million worth of TVL. We did that with $0 and paid advertising. We did it 100% organic. We're a revenue generating company, and we've already got 4 games across BNB, Ordinals, Base, and multi-chains ready to roll, right? So a lot of exciting things coming, but probably one of the hottest things that we're going to be doing right now, which I'm going to drop the news here, which is we've closed a deal with a manufacturer to be able to bring to the industry the first of its kind device, which is an AI voice command wearable that you'll be able to use to access your portfolio, your analytics, command the AI bots to perform tasks on your behalf, and control both either DEGA systems as well as your conventional DeFi portfolio from a simple wearable.
So you've partnered with a hardware manufacturer to create that product?
Yes. The product's already built, it's tested, it's working. We'll be doing the pre-sale along with the TGE. You'll need to be able to hold DEGA tokens to access it. We're actually gonna drop it for free for the people that are doing staking with DEGA.
Okay, cool, man. Congratulations on the announcement. I have a couple of questions that you probably were not expecting, because I know you did a whole show with the Crypto Banter. Holy shit, 10 months ago. Really long time ago. Are you still going on Cardano?
We're multi-chain. We've already integrated on over 8 blockchains. Cardano has been a key community that has supported us. Much love we've received from them, and we have much love for them as well. But yeah, we're live on Polygon. We're about to release Cosmos next week. So for us, the vision is that wherever you are and you need to build your game, we will be there for you.
Okay, and then the last question I have, well, you guys, one of the topics you guys discussed is what's an ISPO? I know it's 10 months ago, so I'm not sure how relevant it is now.
Yeah, it's still ongoing. An ISPO is essentially a concept that allows users to be able to stake into a project stake pool, and they give up the yield instead of outright buying the tokens, right? So this mechanics allows them to go long, right, on Ethereum, on Cardano, on Polygon, whatever it is that they want to hold, but they still get exposure to a new project because they're giving up the yield in exchange for that project's tokens, right? So think about it like a structured financial product where you keep the base capital in whatever you want to go long, but you're getting yield in a new project token, and namely DEGA in this case, but we're opening that up for our partners as well.
Cool, man. Look, I'm really glad to be on the cap table. I appreciate you. Happy to do more with you. Happy to have you on this show more often. I think Scott enjoyed this conversation a lot as well. He hasn't stopped talking.
Carlos, no, I was listening to you. Listen, sometimes you just shut up and listen. And
Thank you. That was a great discussion. I appreciate it, man. Scott, any other questions before I kind of wrap it up with DEGA?
No, I think that was well covered, and obviously, I think Carlos should be welcome back anytime. So we'll hear from you a lot
Carlos, kind of the last question is a kind of message to the audience before you list, and any final quick words.
Yeah, no, on our side, we're ready to roll. We've already proven that we can pull in the capital, the TVL, the revenue, the partnerships. We're going to put even more pedal to the metal in the next 2 months. I'd like to invite everybody today to do the DEGA Quest. I linked them in the comments of this space, and that way you can earn some free DEGA. So if you want to be part of this ride and this adventure with us, that's kind of like the best way to access that. And stay tuned for all the innovations we'll be releasing. Make sure that you get one of those AI wearables for you.
Cool, man. And on my end, like what I'd wrap it up with, Scott, is like we're putting our money where our mouth is. Like I've talked about gaming nonstop in every single chance I can get now and in the bear market. And we just got a gaming platform here, and turns out we're invested. So I'm very, very bullish on the ecosystem, and I think investing in a platform rather than a game is an interesting
picks and shovels, man. I was going to say the exact same thing, and I love anything that sort of democratizes access and the ability of the normal person to participate, right? So you have to cheer for any platform that's trying to make things that are complex more accessible, and to abstract away all of that, complexity. I really cheer for things like this.
Cool. All right, guys, really appreciate it. Thank you so much for joining the show, and we'll see you again tomorrow. DEGA, thanks a lot for partnering with us, sponsoring the show, and we'll talk to you offline. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
It's just like